What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another post game here on Mets Central. And the Mets dropped the opening series to the Houston Astros as they lose 2-1 today in what was a perfect opportunity to win the game. They were in, honestly, a prime spot to sweep the series. But this offense, just like last year, no showing in the first few games. I'm not going to sit here and panic too much. I'm going to try not to because I'm trying to be patient. It's infuriating, though. It doesn't make it any less infuriating, especially when Griffin Canning gives you an outing that I did not think in a billion years he would give against that Houston Astros team. Carlos Mendoza had a lot of questionable decisions, in my opinion, which that is not his fault, though, that the offense did not produce, because either way, even with the decisions he made, we're looking at a 1-1 ball game that's going into the bottom of the ninth at minimum. Maybe it goes to extras, and who knows what happens there. But it does not matter when the offense goes 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. It does not matter when Juan Soto's the only one doing anything. He is the only one doing anything offensively right now, and it is problematic. It is problematic. There's no way around it, and it's just vibes of last season right now all over again. And the biggest thing that scares me is that the bottom of the lineup just looks like automatic outs right now, which is a really big problem. Before we jump into everything, please be sure to leave a like on your way into the post game show. Subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Met fans. Turn on your notifications so you know I upload or go live on the channel here. Like I said, really infuriating because they could have started off with run production in the first inning of this ball game too. Because after Lindor flies out, you have that double from Juan Soto, and Alonso flies out, but at least moves the runner over. Nimmo walks, but then Mark Vientos ends up striking out as he swung at some terrible pitches. I mean, he did not get challenged in the zone at all in that at bat, and he ended up striking out. That just, again, it can't happen, which one of the pitches were called a strike out of the zone. So not much he could have done on the first pitch, but either way, that just can't happen. Bottom of the first inning, you have that Altuve single, but then to strike him out, throw him out, double play there, which was beautiful. And Jordan flies out. But again, then you just fast forward as the Mets offense is doing literally nothing at all. And what Griffin Canning is doing is getting out of a couple of jams here and there. Didn't allow too much. He allowed a couple walks here, got some double plays out of it. So it's not like there was anything really to note here other than I love the way that he was actually utilizing his pitches a little bit. I thought that he just hung a slider to Jeremy Pena, which was what happened in the fifth inning. He hung a slider to Jeremy Pena, and he was throwing predominantly sliders. Eventually, someone was going to get a hold of it. I would rather it be a solo home run than anything. And they were still in a prime spot with this game because he gets the next three outs and settles in. So then the sixth inning, I mean, the Mets respond, though. You get that walk from Siri, which was beautiful to see him actually take a walk there, steals a bag. You have the fly out from Lindor, and then Soto hits a weak ground ball. And as it's being thrown ever so slowly by Arrighetti to first base, Jose Siri comes in the score. That ties it at 1. So your only run production didn't even really come from, like a base hit up the middle. Didn't come from, a line drive into the outfield. Didn't come from a home run. It was that. That was where the run came from. And then this is where Mendoza started to be in the question for me. So the sixth inning comes around, and Griffin Canning gets the first out. Immediately when I saw him get the first out, my first instinct was to play couch manager, pull him. But that was the first thing that came to my head is pull him. I don't want him seeing the order the third time. He gave a good outing, but you have an off day tomorrow. You have guys that could go multiple innings in this bullpen. Go ahead and go to the bullpen now, which he didn't. He allows that single to Altuve. I got absolutely worried. Then gets that out from Paredes. Right then and there, though, there was no excuse. And I don't want to hear anyone say that this is couch managing and overthinking and what. I know Jordan struck out twice to Griffin Canning. It's a third time, though. Jordan Alvarez is one of the best hitters in the entire sport. Griffin Canning does not have good numbers against Yordan Alvarez, which we highlighted previewing the series going into it. And you cannot let him face Yordan a third time around. I'm sorry, you just can't. When you have the off day tomorrow, when you have two lefties in your bullpen, one of them making $11 million, the other one in Danny Young, no reason for Yordan Alvarez to be. And I would have liked Budo even in that matchup more. And then Yordan, I thought he ended up taking this one deep, but it ended up being a double, still scored a run, 2-1. And then Budo came in to get the strikeout there from Christian Walker. But then with this offense, I mean, again, just absolutely nothing. And they had opportunities, which is what's so annoying because Torrens isn't even doing much, any much wrong here. That's not English. He's not doing a lot wrong in the bottom of the order, is what I'm trying to say. Like he's giving respectable backup catcher production. He drew that walk there. Acuna steals a bag. This is the opportunity for the offense to strike here, especially the bottom of the order that needs to. Brett Baty strikes out in an ugly fashion, and I'm already getting sick of him. He's the one guy. I will be patient with Lindor. I will be patient with Nimmo. I will be patient with Alonso. I will be patient with Vientos. I will not be patient with Brett Baty. I can't do it because this is exactly what our fear was going into the season. This is what we talked about all of the spring, where it is great he's doing what he's doing. How is it going to translate? And so far, it is 3 games, 2 for him. I'm not sitting here saying that he's got to be sent down now, but I'm definitely going to lose my patience quicker with him compared to anyone else on this team. I'm sorry, it's just how it is. Just not a good at bat there, and really didn't have any this entire series, like Matt is saying in the chat here, which I'll get to the chat afterwards in terms of all of your other comments. The 8th inning comes around. Again, I question what Mendoza was doing here. It didn't matter in the long run, but I don't understand why Jose Budo is still in this game at that point. Walks a batter, allows the single to McCormick. Right then and there, top of the order coming up, pull him out of the game. And he leaves Budo in. He ends up getting that out from Altuve, which was great because it ended up being a nice little play there from Vientos to get the runner at the plate. Paredes then draws a walk. And now you're putting Max Kranick in, who hasn't pitched in the big leagues in 3 years, against Yordan Alvarez with the bases loaded and 1 out. He was as good as he could have been. You have Vientos, who makes that nice grab in foul grounds, gets that ground out to Acuna. He was as good as it could have been. Deadnell Nunez-esque in terms of being a fireman there. And right then and there, that should have been we got to respond here. Our pitchers just gave us an unreal performance from the bullpen, from the starting staff, even though there was a couple things shaky because Griffin Canning, even his command was wild at certain points. He was either missing the zone by a long shot or he was, perfectly painting the corners. So there was command things that I didn't love, and there were sequencing things I didn't love with Canning, but we'll get back to him. You still were in a spot, 2-1 ball game. This offense, no excuse with the middle of the order coming up. You have Juan Soto, who draws that beautiful walk, doing what we all expect from him. Pete Alonso, first pitch swinging. And then he pops out there. Brandon Nimmo, foul, but first pitch swinging. And that pitch that he swung on, that slider that went out of the zone, that can't happen. And then Vientos made good contact. There was a pitch right in his wheelhouse. He got a couple pitches in his wheelhouse during that at bat, but especially that last one. And MLB The Show-esque moment as he just lines it perfectly to Pena at shortstop. That's probably the one that I'm the least mad about because of the fact that it was good contact, but this offense, man, it's just really infuriating that once again they're getting off to a slow start. It really just sucks. It was pretty much just the Juan Soto show. He had the only hit for the Mets today. He had a walk. That was it. That was the offense today. That was similar to what we saw in the home opener last year with that performance there. So, again, I'm not going to sit here and get too mad right now because it is 3 games and this team started 0-5 last year. They're already off to a better fate than they were last year by going 1-2. But you cannot start as slow as you did last year, and the offense is going to have to pick it up. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it, especially against a Marlins team coming up that you should be absolutely destroying the Marlins. There's no rhyme or reason to not absolutely annihilate that team. So hopefully the offense could break out a little bit more there, but I'm going to try to be patient. I'm going to try. But the more that it goes, the more it's going to be difficult. I could tell you that right now. So, yeah, we'll see how they carry it over against Miami. In terms of the pitching, though, like I said, you got as good as you could have got a start from Griffin Canning. The command was a little scary to me. The sequencing was a little scary to me. But overall, cutting back the fastball usage, I would have liked for him to utilize the cutter a little bit more because I think going a little too slider heavy could cause problems going forward, as good as it is and as even though it has really just great movement all around. But either way, he gave you a good enough start. Like, just baseline alone, it's not his fault Mendoza didn't pull him when he should have. Great outing from Griffin Canning. Budo left in too long, but gave you a really good first inning and a third of work. And then Max Kranick was as good as we saw him in spring. It just comes down to the offense here. It's really all it is. And when you look at how much this offense is making, and when you look at the names in this offense in general, it is really infuriating that they couldn't get the job done in this series, where this could have been a sweep if the offense just even half showed up this series, even half, because they had them on the ropes in the first game as well, had them on the ropes at points tonight, even though it was really brutal, the offense, and even though they had one hit, they had them on the ropes because of the fact that it was a 2-1 game thanks to this pitching staff. The one thing that I will say and overreact to is that I want it to be noted early. It was noted last season, my opinions of Eric Chavez. I just continue to doubt this guy, though, as we keep progressing forward. I could tell you that right now. But like I said, leave a like if you haven't already, subscribe, all that stuff. I'm going to get to the chat right now and see what you guys are saying. And then I'm going to torture myself and watch some Rangers hockey. So let's see what you guys are saying. Brutal. Yes, Max. I'm sad. I'm so sad Kranick did that for nothing. You and I both. I thought when Kranick did what he did, they were going to rally against Hader, especially because they worked the pitch count up against him last time. And especially because of the fact that I thought, Juan Soto would take personally just seeing his video of him everywhere, striking out to Josh Hader there. He did his part by walking. The rest of the offense had other plans, though, and provided nothing around him. So that's the unfortunate part. And yeah, I mean, there was never a doubt with that. But, I did say going into the season on the podcast, and I think everyone agreed with me, obviously, because we heard, I believe it was Stearns. It was Stearns or Cohen. One of them talked about how they want to see the hitting lab improve now that they got the pitching lab in a good spot. Not off to a good start so far, because the bottom of the lineup right now, I mean, even the middle of the lineup, I can't even just let them off the hook, but especially the bottom of the order looks really, really brutal right now. This is looking like what you, me, and every Met fan made fun of with the Yankees in 2023 when it was strictly Aaron Judge doing the offensive work for that team. That's exactly what this is right now. The offense will be fine. I'm not overreacting to that, but it's not an overreaction to watch Chavez gone. We've had 3 years of data. He's not a good hitting coach, way too bipolar of an offense. I 1000% agree there. The only thing I will say is that we do also have data that a lot of these guys do start off slow. and it's a problem. I mean, Brandon Nimmo is a guy that starts off slow for the most part. Lindor starts off slow. So I'm not disagreeing with that, and I'm not going to overreact to the offense entirely because these guys we know what they're capable of. But I am very worried about. I think the two things that it's fair to panic about is Chavez with how he does at his job, and the other thing is Starling Marte, who gave. Don't even get me started on him. Gave a terrible at bat, not even moving the bat. Daniel Vogelback esque from him today with the way that he was in that at bat. Yeah, Marte is righty Vogelback. It looked like that today. Yeah, don't even get me started with this. I have no desire to watch them, but here we are. Not gonna have a choice. See, I don't think this is fair to say. Like, I think this is filed as an overreaction here that they got the star guy and everyone's declining. Listen, I get the frustration, and I'm very annoyed with the way this offense performed this opening series because, like I said, with the names this offense has, with the way we've seen these guys perform, they really should be a lot better. Like there's no way around it, and they should have swept the series. But I'm not gonna overreact too much to the way they're performing. But it definitely is annoying that they get off to a slow start, and I definitely have worry still about the bottom of the order because that was a worry I had going into the season. But I don't think it's fair to say until we're a good amount of time into the season, I don't think it's fair to say Lindor's regressing or Alonso, Nimmo, because Alonso outside of today, which today this was easily his worst game of the season. I thought at least he was giving competitive at bats throughout the series. Today he didn't really give competitive at bats at all. I didn't like the way that Pete Alonso was today. Brandon Nimmo again, like it's not fair to say that, especially with Nimmo and um I mean mostly Brandon Nimmo, who didn't even get a lot of reps in spring training. He's someone I'm willing to be more patient with. But I will say that it's gonna have to pick up at some point. Otherwise, then I'm going to be worried. And yeah, this is what I was saying before. And like I said, even more, it's kind of more like the Yankees when it was just Aaron Judge giving the production and no one around him. So that's what worries me right now. But like, there's too many talented players for them to not be better. Like we saw what Lindor did. We saw we know what Brandon Nimmo did last year in the first half. We saw what Pete Alonso did towards the end of last season. It absolutely sucks, but I'm not gonna flip shit right now. I just am not there. There's too many talented names in this lineup that are underachieving, and that's gonna change. That is absolutely gonna change. But again, I get the concerns with the bottom of the order because I do have my concerns still about the platoon DH situation. I have my concerns about how much production you're gonna get from Terrens right now, even though he is off to a solid start. The second base situation is something else that I don't even want to get into. And then Siri and Taylor are defensive first center fielders. So I get it though. And yeah, I don't get why the schedule is this way where they're off on a Sunday, but I just don't get it. I just don't at all. But you know what? I could maybe use a day off between all the Rangers games and then all the Mets games. Could maybe use a day off. So I don't hate it too much in that regard, but I get that it's frustrating and weird. But I'm gonna wrap this up here because, like I said, I gotta watch the great hockey team play, and yeah, they're also off before the home opener. So I'm going to end the live stream here. Thank you everyone for tuning in and watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live on the channel next. And I'll see you guys in the next one.